Hello, 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 and welcome back to Rise the Podcast. As always, thank you so much for returning for another soulful conversation and opportunity to get closer to your highest self. Lately, I've noticed a rhythm in our past few episodes, almost like we're building a storyline together. We started by looking at how to transform self-doubt into self-trust. Then we moved into embracing the unknown, and now we are going to take that one step further by diving into plot twists. These are the moments when your story changes in an instant. We call them plot twists because we're taking them from storytelling, and that's exactly what they are. It's like one moment you're the protagonist in a romantic comedy, and the next moment you might be in a thriller. One day you're in a coming of age story, and suddenly you are in a redemption arc. But what I find fascinating is that unlike books or movies, we can't flip back to earlier chapters to look for clues. We can't scan for the foreshadowing. We can't skip to the end to find out what happens because we're living it in real time. I think that's what makes it exciting. And since we've talked about how the unknown is the field of endless possibilities, you can see how it's going to naturally hold these sudden, almost miraculous shifts. You never know what is right around the corner, and when you start looking forward to your next plot twist, it's going to change the way that you show up in your everyday life. So I want to leave you with this question before we dive into today's episode. What if tomorrow was the day that changed everything for you and you didn't even see it coming? I want you to hold on to that thought before we dive in, and we're going to start off with the quote of the week. So this week's quote comes from the poet Rumi, and it says, "Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. And do not worry that your life is turning upside down. How do you know that the side that you are used to is better than the one to come?" I love this because I think it's such a reminder of what surrender really means. We are so quick to label change as something that's negative, to see it as an interruption to a life that we planned. But what Rumi is saying here is that change is often the very thing that moves us closer to what we've been asking for. The plot twists that I'll be talking about today always show up in the form of change. Sometimes it feels disruptive, sometimes it can be painful, sometimes it's just confusing. But the beauty is that on the other side of that disruption is often a life that is more aligned, more expansive, and more fulfilling than the one that we had before. So as you listen today, I invite you to have this question as well in the back of your mind. What if the change that you're resisting is actually the plot twist that you've been waiting for? And a plot twist in life terms is really a moment that shifts your trajectory. It's those things that you never see coming, but somehow they were always meant to happen. And when I say that you never see them coming, I don't mean that these things are completely random, but the timing and the delivery of them might be. Because if you look closely, a lot of plot twists actually tie back to something you've been wanting to create or call into your life. Like I talked about in the last episode, we don't get to control how or when our desires show up. All we can really do is get clear on the intention itself, and these plot twists are proof of that exact concept. And that's the thing about the plot twists in our lives. They rarely unfold in the way that we imagine, but they always arrive with meaning. They shake us up, they reroute us, and they remind us that the universe's plan is often bigger and better than the one that we had in mind. And the other part about plot twists is that we can't see them coming. We don't get to skip ahead to the end of our story and find out what happens because we're living it day by day, page by page, and that moment that changes everything is not something that we can predict. And this is part of why unexpected changes can hit us so hard. Us humans are like prediction-making machines. We assume that our lives are going to continue unfolding in a way that we can expect. We assume our relationships, our possessions, our health, our homes will all stay in the exact place that we left them, and our brains are constantly trying to forecast what's going to happen next. So when our predictions about our lives are wrong, especially when they are dramatically wrong, it can really feel like the world has shifted beneath our feet. But here is the fascinating part. The same mechanism that makes plot twists feel so disorienting is also the same part that makes them so transformative. When our predictions are shattered, our brains can kick into overdrive, and this is going to create new neural pathways. It'll allow us to expand our perspective, and it'll open us up to these possibilities that we would have never considered otherwise. And I share this because the truth is that not every plot twist is going to feel positive or exciting in the moment. Some will shake you to your core, lead you down paths you would have never chosen, and make you question everything that you thought you knew. Those first steps will feel unbearably difficult, but with distance, you'll be able to look back and see how that detour was perfectly placed to get you to your destiny. For today's conversation, I'm focusing mostly on plot twists that we can get excited about, the kind that remind us that life can get infinitely better overnight, but I also do want to honor the twists that take time to reveal their purpose, because those too are a part of the magic. And to illustrate this concept even further, I want to share my favorite plot twist from my own life with you. I'll be sharing more of these examples in the side notes episode, so make sure to look out for that. But this is an example that demonstrates how when things seem like they're falling apart, they are actually falling into place. I think my favorite plot twist is how I ended up attending Arizona State. I actually had no reason to apply to ASU. I kind of just did it on an intuitive whim almost. I had my top 2 schools picked out for college, and then I also had 2 safety backup schools. So I only applied to 4 schools in total, which is not really like me. I tend to not put all of my eggs in one basket, but I was so sure about my top schools that I felt really good about doing it. And I just applied to ASU for fun. It was really easy to apply and get in, honestly. So I just put my application in and didn't really think anything of it. And what happened was I did not get into my top 2 schools, and it was devastating at the time. I can so clearly remember getting that rejection letter from my number 1 school and feeling like the world was literally crumbling around me. Every plan that I had made in my head had somehow disappeared within a second, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I was essentially left with the option of either going to the University of Illinois, which was one of my safety schools, or going to ASU, where I had applied on a whim. It took a lot of convincing to get my parents to let me go, but once they were on board with it, we were so excited. And the funniest part is about this whole experience is that when I was in high school, my guidance counselor had asked me what I wanted in a school and where I wanted to go. And I remember telling her that I wanted to go somewhere warm and far away, but my top 2 schools were neither of those things. So I kind of just forgot about that desire completely and figured that I was going to have to settle in some areas to get the bigger picture. And when I look at the way that ASU turned out, I went somewhere very warm and very far away from home, and it ended up being everything I could have ever wanted in a college experience. And of course, in the moment that I got that rejection, it was shattering. It was crumbling. I felt so devastated, but that was the plot twist that I had no idea would change the entire trajectory of my life for the better. I had no idea how amazing ASU was going to be and how it was going to change my life. And it was something that I would have never chosen for myself, but it was exactly where I was supposed to be. I truly look back on this situation anytime I face a challenge in my life or feel like I'm experiencing a major plot twist, because that devastation was so real when I didn't get into my top schools and I felt like all of my plans had shifted. But when I can see how perfect ASU was for me and how much I loved it and how much it was something I would have never chosen for myself, but it was everything I never knew I needed, I know that everything is always working out for me. Rejection is truly redirection, and these situations will inspire you to have more trust and compassion for your journey. But the only way to truly allow yourself to experience that divine redirection is by continuing to trust and surrender. When you resist the unexpected and when you cling to how you think things were supposed to go, you are closing yourself off from all of the beauty that exists on the other side of change. If you think about it, every amazing thing in your your life has come from this unpredictable place. Our greatest blessings often arrive in packaging that we could have never imagined. And sometimes they emerge out of places that felt heavy or painful, but those experiences are always carving the path for where we're supposed to go. When we hold too much control or rigidity around our journey, we are unintentionally limiting ourselves. We block all of the incredible, miraculous ways that life could unfold for us, and that's why surrender and trust are not just these nice ideas, they are absolutely essential to opening the doors to the plot twist that you actually want to experience. If you're able to trust that everything always works out for your highest good, then you can surrender to the way that life unfolds. Whether it feels smooth, whether it feels chaotic, you're able to know that somehow it is still carrying you towards where you're meant to be. And honestly, sometimes the moments when everything seems to be falling apart are actually the moments when everything is falling into place. The times that feel the most uncertain, the most chaotic, are these preparation points that are getting you ready for the next level of you and all of the amazing things that are about to come in. Because in order to step into your next level, you're going to have to shed the parts of you that cannot be carried forward. And yes, shedding is uncomfortable and it can feel like a loss, but what you're losing is only creating space for something better. And that's the paradox of trust and surrender. The more you lean into it, the more peace you feel, even in those difficult seasons. I feel like it just sounds so much better to hold on to the faith that everything is always working out for you instead of deciding that things have to go one way. I would rather be what someone might call delusional and believe that the universe is always conspiring in my favor than to decide that things aren't working out for me. So here's my invitation to you. Take every hiccup, every challenge as an opportunity to step deeper into trust. Instead of seeing it as a sign that you're off track, let it be a signal that you are being redirected towards your purpose. Even if you can't understand it in the moment, everything that you're experiencing has a meaning, and knowing that meaning is always there can be the anchor that guides you through every season of your life. And if you can live with that knowing that every detour is serving you, you can also start living from a place of expectancy, expecting that your next amazing plot twist is on its way to you. Lately, my favorite energy to embody has been that of certainty and expectancy. When you can trust so deeply in your vision, you can begin to live with this complete conviction that your desires are coming to you. Because here's the thing, when you have really big goals or desires, which I know you do if you are listening to this podcast, these things are probably not going to arrive in the neat, linear way that you are picturing it in your mind. They are going to show up in the most unexpected, unpredictable, magical plot twist kind of way, which means that you can start living in the energy now of expecting the unexpected. If you know that it's coming in an unexpected way, then you can start preparing for that. And that's why I love framing this as plot twists so much, because it takes that pressure and logic out of it. You don't have to figure out how it's all going to work. You just get to live your story, let it unfold, and trust that everything that is shifting is leading you exactly where you need to be. And anytime I catch myself spiraling into questions like, how will this happen? Or am I doing enough in order to make this happen? I pause and I remind myself that you never know what is waiting for you right around the corner. And then I get excited again. I shift back into that energy of trust and certainty, because just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it couldn't happen tomorrow. Please do not underestimate how quickly life can change for you. One phone call, one conversation, one random encounter can completely change the trajectory of your life. That job opportunity that you've been praying for, that person who becomes a lifelong friend, that idea that changes everything could literally happen tomorrow. And when you wake up each day expecting that plot twist to happen, something really magical happens. You begin waking up and aligning yourself with the energy of the version of you who already has what you desire. Because you're not manifesting that job, that relationship, that house. You are manifesting the version of you who can hold those things with ease. So here's a question that I want you to sit with. If what you desire showed up tomorrow, would you be ready to receive it? Would you be ready to hold on to it? Are you living each day as the version of yourself who can carry that blessing, or are you living as the version of you who wants it but isn't prepared to handle it? If you are expecting the greatest plot twist of your life to unfold tomorrow, then I want you to wake up tomorrow as the energy of the person who can handle that, who is ready for that, who is able to receive that. Because you cannot expect a plot twist without being ready for it. So start cultivating, start tapping into that energy of you who has everything that you desire. That is exactly how you will align with the changes that are going to lead to the life of your dreams. This episode came to me as sort of an intuitive download over the past couple of weeks, so I felt really good to speak these ideas out to you and hopefully get you excited about some of the plot twists and amazing changes that could be coming your way. I have been loving our progression from self-trust to embracing the unknown to accepting change, and I hope that it's helping you to get clearer on what you need to do and how you can keep moving towards your next level. You are so capable and you are so worthy of everything that you desire, and I cannot wait to see what beautiful plot twist life has in store for you next. So thank you again for listening to this episode of Rise, and if you want to hear more about some of my personal plot twists, make sure to check out the next episode of Side Notes, where I'll be sharing more fun stories, and check the description for links to more of me in all of the socials. And as always, I am sending you love and light.